The United States Navy trains its sailors to do one thing almost no one else on Earth will do: walk toward a live bomb while everyone else is running away. They are called Explosive Ordnance Disposal Technicians, EOD. There are fewer than 2,000 of them in the entire Navy. They defuse mines on the ocean floor, render safe roadside bombs in the desert, and handle warheads built to level a city block. Their unofficial creed is 4 words long: initial success or total failure. There is no second place in this job. This is alpha footage. Let's break it down. Navy EOD traces its roots to the Second World War, when the service needed specialists to disarm enemy mines and unexploded bombs. Today, those technicians belong to Navy Expeditionary Combat Command, split between two groups: EOD Group 1 on the West Coast and EOD Group 2 in Little Creek, Virginia. The footage you're watching follows a platoon from EOD Mobile Unit 6 based out of Little Creek. What sets Navy EOD apart from every other bomb disposal force in the world is the water. Army and Air Force techs handle ordnance on land. Navy EOD does that too, but they are also combat divers, trained to find and neutralize underwater mines, clear harbors, and work on the hulls of ships. They support Navy SEALs, Marine Corps units, and mine countermeasures missions. When a team needs a path cleared to a beach, EOD is often first in the water. The job spans 4 categories of threat: conventional munitions, chemical and biological weapons, nuclear devices, and the improvised explosives, the IEDs, that defined 2 decades of war. The documentary opens not with an explosion, but with the ordinary. Sailors arrive at the unit, gear staged, the day beginning like any other workplace, except the work is bombs. On camera, the technicians describe the path that got them here. Becoming a Navy EOD technician means surviving one of the longest and most punishing training pipelines in the military. It starts with dive school in Panama City, Florida, where candidates learn to operate underwater on both open-circuit and closed-circuit systems. From there, they move to the Naval School Explosive Ordnance Disposal at Eglin Air Force Base, the single-joint school that trains EOD techs for every branch of the armed forces. The attrition is brutal. Most people who start the pipeline never finish it. The footage shows what that training produces: technicians calmly handling tools, walking through procedures, suiting up in a bomb suit that weighs roughly 80 pounds. Every motion is deliberate. In this line of work, rushing is how people die. One technician puts the mindset plainly: you control what you can control, and you never let the device control you. As the footage moves into the field, the true scope of the mission comes into focus. Navy EOD doesn't have one job, it has dozens. The camera follows technicians onto the demolition range, where controlled detonations send shockwaves rolling across open ground. It follows divers into the water, descending to locate ordnance that can't be seen from the surface. Underwater, everything is harder. Visibility can drop to nothing. A technician working a mine on the seafloor often works by touch alone, in cold, dark water on a limited air supply, beside a device designed to kill everything near it. On land, the threat is different but no less lethal. The improvised explosive device became the signature weapon of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and EOD techs were the ones called forward to render them safe, often under fire. The footage captures the tools of that trade. Robots sent downrange to inspect a suspected device, remote disruption charges, and, when nothing else will work, the long walk, the moment a technician approaches a live device alone, by hand, because no other option remains. Every approach is a calculation. Every device is treated as a trap until proven otherwise. The most dangerous moment in the entire job has a name. EOD techs call it the long walk. It happens when the robots can't do it, when the remote tools have failed, and a human being has to physically approach a live explosive device. There is no backup at that range. If the device functions, the bomb suit will not save the technician at close distance. The suit is built to improve the odds, not to guarantee them. The footage shows the deliberate pace of it. One technician moving forward, while the rest of the team holds back at a safe distance, watching, ready, and unable to help. Inside the suit, the world narrows. The technician's task is to read how the device is built, find the component that makes it lethal, and interrupt it without setting it off. A single wrong move, a wire cut in the wrong order, a pressure plate misjudged, ends it. This is where the creed earns its weight: initial success or total failure. The render safe procedure either works the first time or it doesn't work at all. When a device is rendered safe, there is no fanfare. The footage shows the aftermath the way the technicians describe it. The adrenaline drains, the gear comes off, the report gets written, and the team moves to the next task. For Navy EOD, the work doesn't end at the explosive. The same technicians who clear a harbor in the morning might support a protection mission that afternoon, sweeping a route for the Secret Service or the State Department before a head of state arrives. They train constantly between missions because the skills decay and the threats keep evolving. The documentary spends time on the part of the job that footage usually skips: the families, the long deployments, the cost of carrying this kind of responsibility for years on end. The technicians talk about it openly. The job follows them home. You don't switch off the part of your brain that's always asking whether something in the room could explode. Navy EOD has paid for its reputation in blood. Through the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, EOD technicians were killed and wounded at a rate wildly out of proportion to their small numbers, because they were the ones sent toward the devices everyone else avoided. For a force measured in the hundreds and low thousands, the toll was staggering. Navy EOD techs have earned Silver Stars, Bronze Stars with Valor, and Purple Hearts for actions that, by the nature of their classification, often never reach the public. Much of what they do is never reported, never filmed, never acknowledged outside the community. At the EOD school at Eglin, a memorial wall carries the names of the technicians from every branch who didn't come home. That wall grows by the demands of the mission, not the turning of the calendar. What makes Navy EOD strategically valuable isn't only courage, it's versatility. No other single force in the U.S. military combines combat diving, ground EOD, parachute capability, and direct support to special operations in one technician. That breadth is why they're attached to nearly every kind of mission, clearing the way for amphibious landings, securing ports, supporting SEAL and Marine Raider operations, and standing by for the nightmare scenarios involving weapons of mass destruction. As warfare shifts back toward the possibility of conflict with major naval powers, the underwater mission is moving back to center stage. Sea mines are cheap, effective, and patient. Since the Second World War, they have damaged or sunk more U.S. Navy ships than any other weapon. The technicians who can find and neutralize them in contested water and on a clock are a capability that can't be improvised in a crisis. It takes years to build one EOD tech. That is the quiet argument the footage makes. This force is small, expensive to create, and almost impossible to replace. Navy EOD works in the narrow space between a routine day and a catastrophe, and most of the time, the public never learns how close the line came. If this breakdown gave you a new respect for the people who do this work, subscribe to Alpha Footage. We cover the units and the missions that rarely make the news. And drop a comment: which branch do you think runs the hardest EOD pipeline? Navy, Army, or Air Force? We read everyone.
Getting the keys to a Ferrari. And I didn't really understand what that meant until I got here and got my own platoon, but these people are really intelligent, want to work hard, very driven individuals. And when you put a group of individuals like that with a multitude of experiences coming from different walks of life with a ton of different backgrounds, and you manage that effectively, you see something come together that is like driving a Ferrari. The platoon is built on trust. If you know that no matter what level a person is at on the platoon, that you trust them to do what they need to do when you're in a high pressure situation, then there's nothing else that you can really ask for. And I think that that's what the community itself is really built on.
You have to really trust each other. You build that bond. That's why we spend so much time together, is you need to trust that guy, you know, with your life, essentially.